Sunday morning, still seeming unreal. The pain obvious, the respect for Kobe Bryant on display here in Los Angeles, where a memorial has been set up and continues to grow outside Staples Center. A constant stream of basketball fans and Kobe Bryant fans making their way to that area, and they keep on filling up those huge boards that you can sign in memory of Kobe. The game with the Clippers tonight was scheduled to be the second game of our doubleheader here on TNT. It was postponed as the Lakers continue to grieve the loss of number 8 and number 24. And you see tonight, game one of our only game tonight on TNT in Miami. And on the shoes, remembrances of Kobe Bryant. As we welcome you to the American Express Halftime Report. Ernie Johnson here, Shaq's here, the usual cast, Kenny, Charles, D. Wade with us tonight. We welcome Candace Parker and Steve Nash, as really this is a continuation of what we did in our pregame show, which was frankly draining for all of us, just because so many emotions were just laid bare. From this guy to Jerry West, the man who made the draft night deal to get Kobe Bryant at 17. It was powerful stuff. I've never been part of a show like that. Thanks for spending time with us here. We appreciate it, Candace and Steve. I'm going to start with you, Candace, because I know you guys met double-digit years ago, and over the last several years, your relationship has become tighter because he has been such a supporter of the WNBA.
You know, the NBA had Kobe for 20 years, and we like to think that the WNBA, he embraced it for the last 4 at least. He came to more Sparks games the last couple years. A lot more. You could see him sitting courtside with his daughter, with his family. And I think I met Kobe in 2008 at the Beijing Olympics. And the first time I met his daughters, he walked up to me and was like, "You see these 2 girls? They're going to break all your records one day." And that was just the competitive spirit that he always had. And, you know, we show up to practice as the women, Olympic team, and the guys sometimes had practice and sometimes didn't, but guaranteed every single time before we practice, he was out on the court getting up shots in a full sweat. And, I mean, that was just a testament to his work ethic. And in 2008, I was fortunate enough to be drafted to the Sparks. And I came here to the building where Kobe and Shaq built in Staples Center. And it was right before his second run of championships. And I just saw him be a leader. And I always heard this phrase that, bosses push, but leaders pull. And he just demonstrated all of that. He got to where he wanted his teams to be, and he just pulled them there. And that was kind of the way that our relationship developed. In 2008, we made the playoffs, and I was in practice, and I get out, and I have this crazy voicemail. And I listen to it, and it's, good luck. It's from Kobe. He's like, "Good luck in the playoffs. You're going to do your thing." And then at the end, he's like, "And when the symphony plays and the maestro comes in and the lights shine and they point at you, it's your time to come in and you're solo, and you'll know it because you've prepared for this moment." And it's only Kobe would say and describe it in that way and in that fashion. And it's just like, what to do and what he's going to say, but Kobe just says it best.
Right.
And, I mean, that's who he was.
Steve, was it... See, I never want to be presumptuous when I ask this question, because you faced him for so long, and then you were his teammate for the last 2 years of your career. But sometimes a competitor loves to go up against a guy like that. But what was more fun, being his teammate or going up against him?
Well, it was a thrill to be his teammate. But, if I look back and remember Kobe, I'm going to think about the competition. And that was special for me in my career to face the ultimate competitor, one of the greatest players to ever play the game. We go way back. We were in the same draft class. He was 18, straight out of high school. I was a graduate of Santa Clara. We could not have been more different. He's the brashest, most electrifying 18-year-old I've ever seen in my life. And I was nervous, insecure, anxious, trying to make a name for myself. And as the story goes, we played our whole careers in the West. We played each other 3 times in the playoffs, had some epic battles. Weren't always friends. We're lucky to be teammates. Probably hated each other at times, but through it all had a tremendous amount of respect for each other. And I remember after we beat him in, I think, 06 in the playoffs, we were at a Nike shoot together, and he came to me and he said, "How do you trust your teammates?" And I thought, inside, I thought, first of all, that's a sign of respect. And I thought to myself, with a smile, well, I have to trust my teammates because I ain't anywhere near the player you are. So for me, I need the whole pie. You can decide it's time and decide the game. But when I walked away from the conversation, I have to admit, was he Jedi mind tricking me, or was he telling me, just so we're clear on the ledger, you had a better team?
Right.
I love this about Kobe Bryant. I love this about Kobe Bryant. And all the things that made us different, I admired about him, I loved and hated, and will remember forever and cherish. And to watch him become this incredible father, to watch him become this person so generous with his time to many, many people, but especially young NBA players. I thought, man, this guy's going to have an incredible impact for the rest of the time. And sadly, now I realize his greatest impact is how he brought the world together, how many people he touched across this planet, not just here in Laker Nation, but around the world, in many countries, many languages. He was so, so important and lifted so many people up. And he's just a one-off, and we'll miss him.
It's interesting how intelligent, Jerry West was talking about it earlier. He obviously was fluent in Italian. And then I actually happened to be watching television. He's given Luka Doncic a little stuff in Slovenian. And I was like, that dude right there is a Renaissance man. When you take the time to learn different languages, that's pretty special. I mean, obviously he grew up in Italy, so that's different, but to take the time to come to a Laker game, bring his daughter, because I think she wants to take a picture with Luka. It's a beautiful picture too. But to take the time, let me learn a little bit of Slovenian. Nobody says that.
Yeah, you're the last guy I ever heard say that, as a matter of fact. D-Wade, what made him special?
I think it was, I know it was his way with people. Kobe had this ability to make you feel like you was the only person in the room when he talked to you. I think, one of my favorite things about Kobe was the way that he made my kids feel. Whenever they come around, the way that he made Zaire feel. And one of my favorite moments is All-Star Weekend, his last All-Star. My son is on the court rebounding for us, and Kobe says, "Zaire, come down here." And Zaire looks at me and he's like nervous, like, should I go? And I said, well, you better go get your Kobe moment, But he took that time, and every time he's seen Zaire, he took that time. And all of us sitting up here as kids, we know how important it is for someone they admire to take a moment to make them feel special. And he did that every time, and that's my favorite part about Kobe.
Yeah, I would agree with that. The only post I put on him is my son Malloy was screaming his name at the All-Star game. He's just screaming, and he looks up, and I got it on video, and Kobe thumbs up to him, and he just breaks out in a smile. And then, you start thinking about obviously you guys as teammates had different things, but, there's 2 other moments that just stood out for me. The first basketball camp that my son KJ went to was Kobe Bryant's camp at LMU. He never went to a basketball camp. I wouldn't send him overnight anywhere else, but I sent him to Kobe's camp.
Yeah.
That was the first. And then the biggest memory is Hurricane Katrina. We were all horrific things that happened, Hurricane Katrina. And I called at the time David Levy, who was running Turner, and I said, hey, I want to do something. He says, I want to do a basketball game. It was Monday. He said, we want you to do it. I want to do it Friday. He's like, you can't do that, Kenny. He said, who do you have? And so I hung up the phone and I stopped and I said, if I call Kobe and I get him, I'll get everybody. So I called his agent at the time, Rob, and I said, they put me on a three-way with him. I said, listen, I'm doing this game and I'm explaining to her, he's like, I'm watching what's going on. She said, what do you need? I said, I need you to play. He said, who do you have? I said, you're the first. If I get you, I got everybody. And he said, I'm in. He said, you need me to do like an interview to let everybody know I'm playing? I said, no, I'm going to announce it, but I'm going to need you to do interviews. And from then, I called Kevin Garnett, and I got 26 players in less than 24 hours because Kobe Bryant said yes.
And your first line was, hey, I got Kobe's coming.
That was it. That was my first line. I got Kobe.
What's going to be really cool, it's going to be interesting. I'm going to be happy and sad because I live in Philadelphia during the summer. I used to live in Lower Merion.
Really?
So I passed his high school and his gym every day, several times a day. And for the last 30 years, every time I went back to drove by, the first time I said, Kobe Bryant, Kobe Bryant. And now it's going to have a different meaning. It's going to have a different meaning. I'm going to be glad to think about Kobe because it brings, and that's the thing we talk about, he always brings great memories.
So he was your rookie.
Yes.
So did you put him through the rookie treatment?
No, Jerry West wouldn't allow it. Jerry was like, this kid's going to be special. Leave him alone. So we did. And I was around the time where hazing was outlawed anyway, so weren't really allowed to do anything. And he was different, but he was very motivated, very different. My favorite Kobe moment, and I have a million of them, but Phoenix All-Star game. I was a reserve on the All-Star, and me and him got in the game together, and we were playing. I'm like, damn, this feels like the old days. So at the end, when they co-announced the MVP, my boys are there with me. I'm older, Kobe's league. I figured he'd take the trophy. He looks at Sharif, Miles, my two youngest son, and he gives him the trophy. I'm like, no, Kobe, don't worry about it. He said, no, I'll get mine later. And then I knew then that all the stuff that we had been through, we got to erase it. And our relationship started getting better for them. And I got to thank TNT for putting that conversation that we had together.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
I thought that was important when it happened.
Yeah, it was. It was very important.
It was on NBA TV, correct? And you sat down and really cleared any air that needed clearing that night.
And he always looked out for my babies, like every time. Pictures. And it's hard, and I'm sure it was hard for my dad because my dad asked me one day, who's your favorite player? And I said, Dr. J, you should have saw his face. So imagine me asking my kids, who's your favorite player? D-Wade, Kobe.
I do have to say this, Shaq.
And I'm like, Candace, I'm like.
You don't know, like, you're synonymous with Kobe. Like, there's not a basketball conversation that ever would happen before the tragedy that your name or his name wouldn't be in. So let's start there. But secondly, this tragedy has brought out an internal thought process about how short life is. But the other moment, when you shook Kobe's hand, I called people that I had beef with and said, I apologize because I watched you two guys come together.
But I don't know if y'all had that game, but it was on Martin Luther King.
Yes.
And you guys know me, I like marketing. So I'm gonna keep it going, you know what I'm saying, regardless, just to keep it going. But I was like, not on this day. Not on this day. I gotta shake his hand. And I shook his hand, he shook his hand. Because one thing about both of us, we say stuff, but we didn't really care. Because, sometimes you just gotta get stuff off your chest. Like me and Charles, funny thing about me and Charles, when I go out, people actually really think I don't like Charles. When I'm walking through the airport, I'm like, listen, bro. And I have to explain to him, I said, listen, me and Charles had our altercation. I get back to the thing, it's a lady on the phone. There's two ladies on the phone. It's his mom and my mom, and they had been best friends for years. I never knew that. So one day I come home and they get to playing cards and doing all that stuff. They had the similar type relationship, like two sisters but it's, like talking. And so, people ask me, I said, yes, I love Charles. Charles, my older brother, we fight and we argue, but the respect is always going to be there. We will never cross the line. I know I always say, I'm going to, punch you in your face and do that,
but in fairness, I was on top punching you.
Hey, Steve Nash, Candace Parker, thank you for sharing your memories with us. We really appreciate that. There's another half of basketball to play down in my